And here we are. Let's talk about teams that are possibly underrated and not underrated or overrated. We have, for Russia, Dark, a teenager, playing as the Ethiopians in the red. And he's teamed up with Vinchester, who's been so good for many years. I think this team as a whole has been underrated throughout the tournament. However, they're up against Norway, and Norway is the #1 seed, and they have players who are well-known around the entire world. In the green, we have Viper. Viper is playing as the Franks, and then in the blue, we have MBL, who is playing Mayans.
Yeah, it's a super sad scenario, I believe, for the Russians that they got matched up with one of the best teams out there, because I have high hopes for this Russian team in this tournament, as we have MBL coming in with a goat steal right to start the game with.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's also a positive to not necessarily facing off against Norway, but there's a positive to being the underdog, right? You almost have less stress. If it's really close and could go either way, I feel like I, anyways, would feel more stress. But MBL, you can't boar steal or elephant steal in this tournament. You can steal goats, and he's already stolen 300 food. A very typical MBL. He's, I guess the Norwegians were waiting around so long for the games to start. They're just like, let's finish this fast. Let's steal.
Yeah, I don't think MBL minds it. Like, this is the casual time frame of MBL playing.
True.
Although he might be a little bit exhausted today. Like, I'm not sure if you have seen him play today, but I think he played like 6-7 matches against Bad Boy with full Tatars from him.
Sounds fun. And you know what? MBL's learned from Bad Boy. He's stealing sheep and goats. That's 4 down, actually. And this sets Dark back so much. You know, you do have 1 restart per best of 5. You actually need to consider it here if you're being smart.
Yeah, honestly, especially considering that it is Dark. And despite Dark's massive improvement in the last time, I feel like one of the biggest weaknesses of him is being able to adapt to very, very uncomfortable situations. Like, for example, losing 4 sheep, especially with that patch of ostriches that's like very hard to push.
Yeah. Now, if you're going to call a restart, you have until the 4th minute to do so. What is happening in my Twitch chat right now? They have not called it, so Russia will play on. And Lidakor already, Russia showing, Norway showing how smothering they can be with pressure early on. Here comes Viper even. So Viper and MBL both grouping up their scouts near Dark's Elephant.
Yeah, absolutely. They really want to just knock the Dark out of this game. By the way, MBL is sending some goats to Viper as well. I like that.
Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous, and Dark's gonna lose a villager! Norway! I mean, this is ridiculous, man. I mean, it's so funny to me, because Dark is an up-and-coming talent. He's a teenager, right? And he's probably thinking, I really want to be competitive. I really want to be a pro. And then Viper and MBL, they're thinking, we really need to scare off these teenagers. We can't have any real threats to our reign in the future. And Dark is down 400 food, now down a villager. This is tough.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Like, Viper and MBL sitting there like, you remember that we didn't blame Leary enough, and look at what he became.
Yeah, that's true. we shouldn't have allowed Leary to do so much early on. All right, well, normally what happens is you're going to have archers from this role. I think that is definitely still possible for Dark. He did not add a barracks, so I don't expect a drush. And MBL, who is now making a barracks, maybe will either go for man-at-arms or a drush. Very MBL-like walls here. Very awkward base layout, not even protecting that gold. And then Viper's probably going up for scouts as one of the best civs for it. And he has not delayed, and I expect the same for Vinchester. So really only 1 player so far. That is Dark, who's had some delays.
Yeah, but luckily for him, he's Ethiopian, so it's not the worst thing in the world for him that he's down a little bit of resources. Although I think he needs to add some farms here a little bit faster than he wants to, because when that elephant runs out, he's going to have 1 goat to work with only.
Okay, this is actually just a very late drush for MBL. So he's adding militia now. He'll stay in Dark Age. And funny enough, Dark, who is in Dark Age, is going Fast Castle? What is... I think he is so far behind, he's adapting to this by trying to full wall and go Fast Castle. This was never part of the plan going into this game.
Yeah, probably not. But at this point, it might be alright, especially if MBL is doing the same thing. Because, well, there isn't going to be any archers for MBL anytime soon. And, well, Dark is also a pretty good arena player, so he really loves to have those walls up.
And again, he's making the barracks. And this might just be an archer build anyways, Lita. But I think he's going to struggle to get the food. I mean, it's especially good because now the Drush can't do damage to him. But I'm wondering how much damage the Drush can do over at Vinchester's base. Look at Vinchester's walls. Vinchester has walled up nicely. There is a hole in the back he'll have to check for. But he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be fine against the Drush at least. But yeah, that hole at the back could actually kill him, and he's going to find that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on having Chinese in this spot? We've seen Chinese a lot in the tournament, but we've seen a lot of archers. And now you have Chinese going scouts.
I think it depends on the draft they have. So what I love about Chinese in this setup is that you can use it for either. So it's basically
true.
whenever you pick Chinese in a 2v2 draft, it's going to be useful for something.
Okay. Yep. I'm hearing you're a bit loud now, so I knew it. I knew you'd get excited. There we go. It should be good now. So here's the Drush for MBL. That's true. Chinese, you normally pick it early and can use it in multiple roles. There's the stable for Vinch. Vinch will make those scouts. And then Viper will make the scouts. And Viper's beginning to wall. Everyone will have full walls at some point. And the only kill we've seen was in Dark Age with that villager.
Yeah, MBL can't really do much with these militias right now. Like, best thing he could do is potentially support Viper's push on Winchester. Just try to help out in taking those walls down. And MBL going for nice and comfy 29 villagers fast castle here.
I quite like Dark's position now, because after the losses, it was always going to be tough. Had he invested into his own Drush and tried to match MBL, he'd be playing a losing game. But here in this case, it seems like he might be able to have a matching Castle Age time with matching archer numbers. Norwegians moving around, and I don't think they'll be able to break through.
You have your wrong overlay up.
Do I?
According to chat, at least.
Yeah, I think we can get that fixed. There we go. Thank you. I actually am not. I'm not going to explain the setup, but I'm actually not controlling this tournament. So that's on overlay guy. But the scout got in for Dark. That villager will... Come on, Viper. Not get trapped. Scout won't get trapped, rather. And it's a pretty boring game now, Lidacor. We'll see a lot of action in Castle Age, but not a lot till then.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like a boring game actually benefits the Russians over here. Because I actually... Oh, no, there is a hole!
MBL! And he quick walls or he doesn't quick wall. And oh my goodness, this is suddenly awful for Norway.
Yeah, I think MBL isn't going to lose much, but it's quite a lot of idle time. I jinxed him. I jinxed him so bad.
Yeah, he should lose too. I think it all depends on how annoying Vinchester wants to be. Because Vinchester's the type of player who is going to stay in here for the next couple minutes. So MBL has to add a spearman. Vinchester, he didn't even wall behind. Another scout comes in for Vinch now. Like, MBL is going to be so frustrated by this. This is exactly what Russia would have wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another villager killed and another one.
What? MBL's lost 3 villagers. And here comes Viper to save the day. It's actually Viper's birthday. Happy birthday to Viper. Happy birthday. Your gift is you have to save MBL.
That's not a great gift. And I think a lot of people are underappreciating how fast player Winchester is. Like, he is really the micro nerd type of a guy. So, as you said, he's just going to keep running around and will try to snipe vills. And Viper will be forced to defend, which just gives time for Dark to chill.
Yeah, gotcha. Now people are saying his birthday was yesterday, which is kind of awkward because I wished him happy birthday today. But belated birthday or not, Vinchester did damage he would have wanted to do there. He received none, and Dark is going to be in Castle Age faster than MBL, making archers.
And those will be Ethiopian archers as well, something we shouldn't forget about.
Yeah.
And MBL's gold is quite exposed for archer aggression, so he can't really afford to fall behind in archer numbers over here.
This is my favorite, one of my favorite things about casting, whether it's 1v1s or team games in Age of Empires, with one team who's favored to win against the challenger. When that team who's favored to win falls behind, it's really fun because it evens it out a little bit, but also it makes it... How do I word this? This should be much simpler for me to say. I apologize, but I think we've seen Viper come back plenty of times, MBL come back plenty of times. We now get to see how they do it, if they can do it, right? And I see Viper with a solid uptime, a Viper 10% of the way to Castle Age, a Vinchester right behind him.
Yeah, Winchester will have to play this one very aggressive because Viper is gonna have Paladins in late game,
Yeah.
so they have to decide this in like late Castle, early Imperial. And considering MBL is set back quite a bit behind, I would love to see Vinch adding like 1 or 2 camels at the beginning, so he's gonna have a nice little edge over Viper because MBL isn't going to be there to help.
Yeah, it's a possibility. You know, Chinese do have that option. I personally think that since you're not going to do damage with the early knights, or the early camels, I suppose, it's probably better to make knights just in the event that archers come out. But interesting how Winchester made 2 mining camps in that gold. It is efficient, but you don't see that too frequently. And we have 3 ranges for Dark here, so Dark will go very aggressive in Castle Age.
Yeah, I think they have to, especially against Mayans that can have a very, very good Imperial Age time. You don't want to fall into a situation where the Mayan player goes up and gets Obsidian Arrows and Orbs. So I totally agree with this play from Dark. He's going to move out to the crossbows now.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a bit more confidence for Norway when it comes to moving out. And we've seen so many teams lose games because they gain a lead and don't take advantage of it. Not that there's a massive lead here for Norway or for Russia, but you see how Dark's sitting at home right now instead of moving out with that Castle Age advantage? He probably just doesn't feel comfortable. And then you have MBL and Viper both scouting that Dark is in there, and MBL's come forward.
Yeah, MBL is coming, but there is going to be 3 stables from Winchester, so it's going to be full on Castle Age aggression from the Russians here.
He decided to hide that stable as well. MBL is housed, but he just lost a crossbow, so it's well calculated. And he's actually getting out-microed, but it also does make sense against Ethiopians when the Ethiopian player has more numbers.
Yeah, but this is going to be Dark holding that hill for now, and apparently everybody is going to the left side of the map to reinforce with cavalry.
Viper, expect him to go for the greedier side of things with his eco. That's where you want Viper at. You want Viper to carry in late castle. He's got 3 TCs. Also has chain barding already, so that will help against the archers. Compared to Winchester. Winchester, he does not have that upgrade, and that's a better fight for Viper. But MBL, I mean, his gold's forward. His woodlines can be ranged. He's also on 3 TCs. Very greedy. But typical, I think, of the top teams to do that.
Yeah, I think so as well, because they feel confident playing with 2 stables instead of 3 stables. But as you said, it could be overly greedy.
I don't love the 3 stables, though. He's not even using them because he's now opting to add town center, so that's a bit weird to me. That Winchester decided to go 3 stables and now not making use out of it. But let's see what Dark is able to do. He's right next to MBL's gold.
And he's got ballistics and +1 armor. MBL does have neither of that.
Yeah. Probably an engagement that Viper will have liked taking here. It's the high-level confidence to be able to sit here and still feel okay. But I feel like if the fight goes Russia's way, this could be disastrous for MBL in a moment.
Yeah, it could be. And Winchester's Knights also have +1 attack. Viper does not, so that's also a fight in the favor of the Russians.
This is also what happens when you go immediately for 3 TCs. Viper's putting so much into Vil production, and he has the Vil lead, but he doesn't have the Knight numbers. Now look at Dark's eco. Dark, he actually sold all of his stone, so he's just going full-on 1 TC full crossbows, and I gotta be honest with you, Lita, I think this is the best play for him. There's no way he can go 3 TCs and compete with MBL. Just go all in and try and kill him.
Yeah, especially with that. He's got +2 defense and he's gonna have Thumb Ring. Those will be fully upgraded crossbows in a second. And now they're going to Viper. And honestly, Viper is not that well defended. So this could be a lot of damage done here.
Now, what's kind of awkward is you have MBL freely booming on 3 TCs behind this. Ideally, what you do when attacking the Knight player is not just kill villagers, it's to take out the stables. And as Viper's adding more, it does feel like MBL could naturally swoop in behind this and form some type of a trap for Norway.
Yeah, this is getting scary. On the other hand, if they catch those crossbows in the middle of the field, that could be a beautiful surround.
Yep, good point. They have to make some decisions, and Winchester thinks twice about going in after them. Good work from Norway to help each other out. Viper had to help MBL. Now MBL helping Viper, but big lead for Norway with the economies.
Yeah, it's a huge lead, and I don't see Russia doing enough damage here, right, with this.
Well, yet, right? Because it's a lot of crossbowmen coming across the map for Russia. And Viper's Knight number is pretty similar to what Winchester has. Viper needs that gold.
Look at the crossbow streaming in for Dark as well. Much better upgrades than MBL does.
Wow, this is crazy. Viper with 9 knights on our screen. Winchester with 8 knights on our screen. Dark has more crossbows. And Dark is microing down MBL's crossbows. But, I mean, Russia really giving it their best shot right now, Lita.
Yeah, absolutely. This is their moment to shine. Especially if they can intercept the reinforcements from MBL over here.
I love this. Do not underestimate Russia. Now, still, Dark's eco looks so poor compared to MBL's. But actually, I might be blowing things out of proportion. MBL only has 7 more vills. I think they need to have a finishing blow here soon, though, Russia. Either taking out ranges from MBL or taking out Viper stables. They're killing units, but they need to turn that into slowing down the production of future units from the Norwegians.
Yeah, absolutely. But honestly, if you look at the ecos, it's not that much different. So, because Viper has to go 4 stables here, he isn't really able to keep adding villagers, I believe, on all 3 of the TCs at all the times.
Yeah, maybe. And meanwhile, with 1 TC for Dark, so often in this tournament, it's been a race to Arbalest. MBL, in theory, should get to Arbalest faster because of the economy, but we will see. I'd like to see Vinch add stables. It looks like he has done so. And they need to decide, Russia, on who they want to take out. Viper's looking really strong with 4 stables pumping.
Yeah, on the other hand, if you look at Vinch, he's 3 TCs now and barely makes any knights. Quite a lot of those stables were idle, so yeah. I'm not sure what has on his mind. But as you said, take up the stables.
Yep. Yeah, now Viper can't compete with Vinch's army numbers if he loses these stables. So Winchester will then have more knights. This is a good play. Also, Vinch will have full armor and attack. Viper doesn't have a single attack upgrade. I think he needs to consider at least getting 1 attack upgrade.
Yeah, but it takes time, and that's the problem. They don't really have time over here.
Viper does have more numbers, though. He has a lot more numbers, and this could be a good opportunity for surround for Norway. Do they want to take this fight? Oh, man, these fights are so awkward. It feels better for Norway, though, because of Viper's numbers, and Viper surrounds the crossbows. And Vinch is not able to do that against MBL. But then Dark comes in from the other side. What a fight. Can you call this, Lita? Because it's a iffy fight for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, nice fight, no one has won.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing again, though, is the fact that Russia are on a timer. Is they don't have the economy. So I think Vinch is going to arrive with more knights here. And Dark should hopefully be able to back away with these crossbows and take Vipers out. Oh, or not. Or not. Or not. Okay. Norway cleared a lot. But yeah, it felt like if Vinch had a bit more, they could have done something. Yeah, I'm sorry, Lita. We don't quite have the synergy yet, but it was so close for Russia winning that fight.
Yeah, but I think the key thing here now is that if you look at the ecos, it's not that much different anymore.
I think that is true, but I think you prefer Franks and you prefer Viper over Vinch, and you also prefer Mayans going up to Imp as MBL's patrolling so many crossbows forward. Every fight is looking good. I think it's looking good. Man, there's so much fighting. I love how no team is sitting back here. This is wild.
Yeah, it's super wild, and Dark doesn't have the crossbow numbers to match up against that many knights from Viper. He needs to get a bigger blob of crossbows on the field.
Yeah, it wasn't really Dark's fault. It was Vinch not having enough knights in that engagement earlier. Again, it's not a 50-50 fight. Maybe it's 55% for Norway, 45% for Russia, but this is still a close one. 59 villagers for Dark. It is 76 for MBL. And now that Dark is running away, that is a very bad sign for his team because we knew they needed to kill quickly. Very impressed with Russia's display, though.
Do you think it was overly greedy from Vinch to add 3 TCs after he went for 3 stables?
No, I think he's able... I think 3 stables was a mistake at the start, right? His eco could have been better if he only went 2 stables. But going 3 TCs is standard. Adding extra stables then is standard. All that's good. I'd say Viper slightly outplayed him on that front. and then MBL just went for the more greedy approach of adding eco. I think Dark, as a lot of crossbows will die for both players here, actually, mainly for MBL, Dark has just resigned himself to the fact that he will never have that boom that MBL has, but he wants to make up for that with crossbow numbers. And actually, after that fight, I mean, they could push MBL.
Viper's got a very ambitious castle coming up in the face of Winchester with one villager.
Get out of here. The disrespect, man. Get out of here. How would you feel if you're Russia seeing that?
I would send my knights and kill that villager.
Oh, Viper quick walls. This is why I'm really glad I never played these people. I saw the group and I was like, oh no. Oh no. I mean, honestly, my first thought when I see something like this is I hope it gets punished. And Russia are not in a bad position to punish it. That's a doubt castle. And I think Viper could potentially need that castle in front of his gold in a bit.
Yeah, and the more he invests into that castle, the more stone he's going to lose when he cancels it.
Yep, exactly. And that castle's not going up, at least for now. Winchester really needs to kick it into overdrive, though. If they can go all in with crossbows and knights on Viper's main front TC, Viper won't have access to gold to make knights.
Yeah, it looks like MBL and Dark are going to imp at the same time.
Wow, Dark clicks up first. Russia can do this, Lita Core. MBL still lacking the numbers. Viper, his castle will never go up at this rate. He does have more knights, but now the crossbows have the hill.
Yeah, and those are Ethiopian crossbows. And if you look at the numbers, Dark has 50 crossbows, MBL has 40, and MBL still hasn't clicked up. So
yeah,
if they preserve those numbers, that could be a very, very good chance.
Yeah, Russia, while they might be tempted to take out the TC, it's all about army numbers and holding this hill now. They are asking questions of Norway, so they don't need to move much.
Did you see Viper sending out all the villagers to that university? That was so clutch from Russia. They delayed the university so Viper couldn't click up in time.
That's a good point. They must know that he's on the way now, so this might actually be an invitation to strike. But no, Winchester says, I'm going imp. What a game this is to start off this series. Oh!
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, castle!
And now Winchester's going to show Viper how it's done. What? He'll send more than one, I imagine. Okay, he's going to send 10 villagers to castle drop Viper's face.
Yeah, and that's one of Viper's secondary goals, so you don't want to lose that position if you're Viper.
This is really not a great spot for Norway to be in. It is Norway. It is the #1 seed. But we said it, well, for the last 3 weeks, Lita, that Norway did not have any really big challenges throughout their group. Even in round 1, it was fairly easy for them. Winchester's deciding to build this even more forward? Okay.
Yeah, I think he wants to range that goal directly. I think one of the most underappreciated things of the Russians is that these guys actually form a team themselves, so they have a lot of team chemistry playing together, and that's something a lot of people forget.
Yeah, I mean, it's... When you have names like Viper MBL, they're always going to be favored going into a set. There's no other way to say it. But right now, I think we're about to see a score switch. While there's always potential for MBL to switch over to Dark at some point and threaten him, as I see Obsidian Arrows on the way, Viper has to abandon that town center. Viper can't take gold.
Yeah, and if Viper... Well, Viper still has the right side gold mine, so he can actually buy it. Oh, right side, there's Doubt Castle from Viper.
Second Doubt Castle in the game. Look at Viper clicking away. Oh my god, that's 2 Doubt Castles for Viper. I think if there's karma, we're seeing it right now, because Viper could have easily protected that gold in the front. Some might say that Norway are nerfing themselves. Other people might say they're trolling. But I'll tell you right now, guys, Dark has 83 Arbalest, MBL has 63, and Viper, his stables are going to start going down. His eco is not looking as good as he would want it to look like right now. This is crazy.
Yeah. MBL is pushing Dark's base, though, and that's huge. Those are Obsidian Arrow orbs.
Oh my goodness. And you know what? He doesn't need Siege. These are Bombard Arbalest, as Nikov would say, and Dark was counting on never having to look at his base as they're killing Viper. So
yeah, they will send the Cavalier back, but it's gonna take some time. And I was just about to say that the only thing that Russia is missing, I believe, is eco for Dark.
Yeah, true. He has 4 on food right now, so it's all wood, all gold eco. It does kind of remind me of something we saw from Tato when he got push that one game. Over 60 ARBs remain at Viper's base. Viper does not have Paladin on the way. MBL's just sent him food. Viper will likely click the Paladin upgrade then.
Yeah, but that takes a lot of time, and honestly, if Winch cleans up the ARPs here...
It's true. If Vince cleans up the ARPs, they have a time window, Russia. I think Viper's done a great job securing the neutral gold in the corner, and he has been able to get these castles up. Dark, just commit to the fight, though. Like, they should just be pushing into Viper's base time and time again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like Winchester needs to push MBL now because Viper is busy defending back at home.
Yep.
So they need to just raid MBL because his army is slow.
This is Viper's Paladin stable. It's unlikely he will lose that, but it does take time for that upgrade to come in. While Dark does have the ARBs here, I think he needs those ARBs to be engaging with his teammate and against the Cavalier, because once Viper gets Arbalest, there will be a massive not Arbalest, I'm sorry, I need help today. But once he gets Paladin, there will be a massive difference between that and Cavalier.
Yeah, Dark Zico is looking very bad right now, but MBL is gonna get raided pretty heavily over here.
Yeah, and also Russia starting trade already. That's not something Norway can say. And MBL with the quick houses, and that will help him. He won't get pop-capped anymore. That's perfect. But look at the engagement Viper just took against the one group of Arbalests that Dark had split off from the main force. Those Arbalests go down. Now Paladin is in for Norway.
Yeah, he should never have separated his ARBs here. Because now, I mean, he still has 50 ARBs here, which is nothing to be ashamed of, but now it's not that great. Luckily for them, at least Viper is missing Blast Furnace, which helps a tiny bit.
Viper's got 22 Paladins. He's got 5 queued. There's still 60 ARBs here. I don't think Viper has enough Paladins to take out the Arbalest.
Yeah, because there's Cavaliers here with +4 attack. So, Cavaliers with +4 versus Paladin with +2, a little bit more even.
Yeah, I mean, if Dark can slowly sort out his eco problems, only having 65 villagers, if he doesn't have many Paladins in the queue, there's still 70 military for Dark, who's showing us that military counts more than eco.
Big raid from Viper, but this is where it gets tricky because Viper's gonna start running out of gold.
Exactly.
So, if Viper runs out of gold suddenly, the Cavaliers will be much better than the light cav he can make.
Yeah, I think Dark for a moment here needs to regroup because as he's queuing up trade, his units are patrolling into these random buildings. He needs to maintain 60 ARBs at a time. Look at MBL's queue right now. I can't do math because I'm a caster, but I think he has nearly 60 ARBs queued despite having 40 idle villagers.
That means that he doesn't have production. By the way, I love how Winchester is placing a stable in the right side corner. They want to just delay Viper and MBL to trade, and that could very well work.
And Russia also stonewalling that left side. So they're thinking about that. I think as Russia's thinking about that, they are losing ground, which is far from ideal. And Dark also trying to fix his economy, which is not an easy task when you only have 70 villas.
Yeah, and this is where the problem kicks in, that you just have Cavalier against Paladin, and it's not gonna be cost efficient in the long run. Dark Elite Skirms and a bunch of barracks being dropped here.
Nope. Also, the trade, because actually, I don't know why this is happening, but I just saw trade cards from Winchester with gold go to his base. It's because he didn't delete his market.
Yep, that's
the
reason.
That's a bit sloppy.
That's very sloppy, but it's a hard game for them, and Viper soon running out of gold, so they might still have a small window to win this one.
Yeah, Viper running out of gold. MBL certainly not, with the amount of Arbalests he has queued up, and MBL said it's my turn now to have 70 ARBs. Lions are just freaking ridiculous here. How has MBL been able to afford all of this? I guess he's not mining a ton of gold anymore, but now the buildings are going to melt. This is where Norway can use some time to take that corner on the right side and start to trade.
Yeah, but it's going to be hard to take that corner because Winchester is very good at just being annoying over there.
Yep. He's making... The only thing he has queued right now is light cav and trade cards. So he's really waiting for the gold to kick in. It's important that Norway push throughout this because I think their late game tech is way better having Paladin. They cannot allow Russia to somehow hold on this way.
Yeah, absolutely, and Dark's population is still very concerning, and the stone walls aren't finished, so Paladins will run into the trade.
Yeah, Paladins into the trade indeed. So you invest into the trade. Don't even have the trade upgrade. Dark. Trade's running super slow anyways. It will go down before dropping off the gold if Viper's paying attention to it. And it does feel like Russia are struggling now. Even though Winchester's population is good and Viper only has 150 population, there's still so much that Norway can do with their military.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Viper is losing quite a lot of villagers over here to the raids. 45 idols, and if you can't keep up the cavalry production, you can still fall behind because you're going to get raided.
Yeah, and then they would just need to find an answer to MBL, and I guess in theory, the best way to get MBL to not push forward with those ARBs is to attack Viper nonstop and have Viper ask for help, and I think that's happening now, as Lightcap from Winchester will now raid MBL's economy.
And in the middle, MBL isn't paying attention to his Arbalest getting torn apart by skirms as well.
Right.
Is Russia doing this? That's a lot of raid.
If they
That's
can
a lot
deal,
of raiding damage.
yeah, like if they can deal with Viper's Paladins and get the trade running and wall it up, all those things, that's all they have to do. Then they can do it. But it just comes down to whose economy is going to be secure, and it's really fascinating because Viper's eco hasn't been secure, Dark's eco hasn't been secure. And look at all the eco going down. Yeah, Winchester's eco is kind of perfect, actually.
And, well, there is still no trade for the Norway team, and Russia needs to lead those markets so badly.
Yeah, they need... Vinch really needs to send something over there, but he's just farming and making light cap. It kind of reminds me of Canada yesterday against Spain, where Canada fell behind, and Hera did a great job making a lot of trash units, but he really needed a gold unit in that instance. But I've been so impressed with Russia, seriously. Like, I knew that they were a great team, but to do what they've done against Norway here is very impressive so far.
Tristan, I'm gonna ask you a question. Which team has more villagers right now?
Well, I just looked, so I spoiled it for myself. It actually looks like Norway, but I think your point is it's very close. Because
It's very close.
Dark only has 55. But I'm so impressed with how MBL and Viper have been able to get into the trade route. I mean, Viper has stayed here this entire time. MBL just came in with ARBs. The trade is pretty much taken out now for Russia. And
yeah, but there is no trade for Norway either.
yeah, and then if it's just trash, I don't freaking know, Lidacor. Who's winning this game? This is crazy. Like 100 pop for Dark, but then 130 pop for Viper, then 170 pop for both Winchester and MBL. This is nuts.
Yeah, this is crazy, and I'm gonna say that I would actually think that Russia might be leading by a narrow margin here because they just keep sending light cavalry in, and it's very hard for Norway to clean it up when you don't have your own cavalry, and the Viper is dropping in villager count very massively.
I think I'd agree with you if there was some answer in the left side for Russia. Viper, these are not new Paladins. He can't afford to make Paladins. These Paladins have been sent in, and they've done work, and that still has not been dealt with. So, whereas Viper on the other corner, I don't know, he might lose a castle or two as we see Dark move into the back. Wait a second! Dark's kind of sitting in the trade too! Can we just say that we don't know? Can we just say it's close? I think we should just do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at Viper's eco, 78, and Winchester has 140 eco. He can just keep sending in the light cav and can just suicide push that eco.
Winchester! Winchester, can he carry his team? Viper, as he's losing eco, he's raiding Dark's economy. Big fight here. It looks like Norway will clean up this big mass from Dark, though, who has 0 on golds and definitely cannot afford to make more ARBs.
Honestly, I feel like at this point, Russia might need to try and go for skirms for Dark to try and just trade against MBL and just keep spamming the light cav of Winchester into Viper's eco. And look at MBL. He's dropping in eco quite massively as well.
Yeah, but I think the problem's still military. MBL has 80 ARBs swinging around the map. Now, granted, they're very slow, but he still has ARBs swinging around the map, and I'm not seeing Dark in a position to make anything, really. Skirm Halb might be a good idea. Look at Finch with Light Cav and Cavalier sent to Dark Space to save him. But man, if Winchester continues to raid Lita, if he continues to ask questions of Norway, then MBL can never push out with the Bombard Arbalest. I mean, here he comes now, And that's almost impossible to kill. But there is a chance that they can force MBL to stay Viper all the time.
Yeah, the real problem here is that Winchester cannot afford to lose that farming eco, because that is what is keeping them in the game, but Dark actually has more villagers than Viper now.
Winchester needs to delete that market, man. Like, the fact that the trade is running anywhere close to this is really bothering me. And, oh, they actually call it?
Oh, I don't think they actually understand how close it was.
I think you're right. I think if they patrol in with the Light Cav and the Cavalier, I think they kill MBL's force here, right? Did they kill MBL's force? I think they're
Not
close
sure,
to it. Like, let's say they kill 50% of the force. They must not have realized how poor Viper's eco was and how little trade Norway had. But I think you're right, Lita. I mean, it does still feel like Norway had the lead. But I think you play on here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's insanely hard to stop those 60 Arblasts. If that was anything else than Mayans, you would probably say just keep playing.
Yeah.
The only problem is that indeed Winchester could lose his eco, but there was enough light cap here to at least take a delay type of engagement, and then they would have played on. I think just look at the score, they just feel like, oh yeah, Dark is 80 villagers. I don't think they actually realized how much they killed from Viper and MBL here.
Look at the eco for Dark. 42 on food. Viper, 62 on food. So that's pretty close there. Viper at 78 vils. Dark at 83 vils. I mean, that is, if you add up the populations, very, very close. I think there's a difference of maybe 6 or 7 total population. And at 59 minutes, both teams had struggled to secure any trade. And maybe that's it. Normally, you think about time windows. You say 45 minutes, we need trade established. It's 59 minutes. We're against Norway. We know their reputation, and we don't have trade established. But while I'm disappointed that they resigned there, I think that they showed how strong a team they are, and that's really exciting for the future games.
Yeah, honestly, this for Russia feels like a loss but a win type of a scenario. So they lost this game, but when you are up against the potentially the best team of the tournament on Arabia, like especially after Dark taking a big punching in Dark Age, this was actually very, very convincing given the certain circumstances.
Also, do you ever want to have 2 civs, which are seen as archer civs, in this tournament in game 1 on Arabia? What if Winchester could have researched Paladin? His eco was untouched, whereas Viper's eco was not untouched. So if Winchester had Huns, had Lithuanians, had any civ but Chinese there, I feel like Russia actually win that game. But
yeah, it could have been possible.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. But one more thing to bring up as we go to the home maps now. I think when the games are close, you need to win if you're Russia. If you have any chance, you have to win those types of games, because I don't think there's going to be many opportunities to win against Norway with their dominance.
Yeah, not really. But on the other hand, you can consider it like, okay, if you're Russia, you might think you're just going to lose Arabia, and you have to be very well prepared for the home maps, not just yours, but the opponent's home maps as well.
Yeah, true.
And that brings us to the interesting question of Russia picking team islands first and not arena.
Yeah. That, I mean, honestly, Norway are gods on arena. I think the big thing with arena is how you see the game. And I think Viper is a player who can see the civ draft, know what civilizations they'll probably go for and what strategy they'll go for. And I can kind of understand it. People are saying arena's banned. This is what we're talking about, though. With the way that the maps are picked, you always get to pick your first home map. So it goes pick, ban, ban. So Russia, who have picked arena before, if they really wanted arena, could have gone arena, and then Norway would have had to globally ban something else, and then they could have picked Team Islands as their second home map. So that's why we're saying that Russia didn't pick arena, because the ban happens after a pick. But yeah, in my opinion, I think Russia showed in game 1 that they don't necessarily have to play on closed maps, Lita. So it looks like it will be... I don't actually see yet, but if it's Team Islands, I see Malay and Italians as, and even Portuguese as really strong civs for Russia.
I think you're going with Italians and Portuguese, because Portuguese is basically your counter civ for the Viking longboats play, and Italians, where else you would use them other than islands? And Malay, it's a little bit more versatile for
True.
use. Like, not sure about the maps here, but mm,
I haven't seen it yet, but my guess is it's going to be Team Islands. But I also haven't seen Russia play a lot of Team Islands. So
absolutely not.
I don't think they played it against Germany. I don't even think they played it in the group stage. They probably have a strategy prepared, but
Yeah, it's a tricky one because if you think over what maps MBL hates the most, probably Team Islands and Arena. And they picked Team Islands, so Norway is going to ban Arena. You have to expect MBL landing here. It's
yeah.
the real question what the Russians are thinking about. And honestly, I would still be okay with an Italian Portuguese pick over here because it's a little bit unpredictable. So you could do a landing with Italians, and it's less hard to predict than landing with, let's say, Mongols or Khmer, as we have seen.
Yeah, what's awkward for me is how there's Spanish and Burmese available for Russia. Like if they have their choice when Nomad comes around, or if Nomad comes around, they'd have to beat Norway to get there. But I doubt you're going to go Spanish and Burmese on that map. Those civs stand out to me as civs I don't necessarily see being used. But yeah, I like the civs more for Russia. If you're expecting a landing from MBL, then maybe you invite that landing, and if you expect it, prep some scouts or some type of defense. Because MBL did do that when we saw France against Norway.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the tricky thing is that, let's say, as it's going to be Team Islands, you were right. So I think the tricky thing is that, let's say, MBL lands and Dark defends on land. I would actually favor MBL in these messy, towering,
Yep,
aggressive field late scenarios over Dark.
yep.
And I would also massively favor Viper over Winchester on water.
Well, well, I think that's also like every situation. That's the problem. It's not like MBL and Viper have any massive flaws. I don't think there's a situation that they could ever encounter where you wouldn't favor them over the Russians. That's that's going to be true everywhere you look. But I think with that logic, maybe you don't play it like Norway plays it, right? So instead of going for a landing, maybe you expect the landing and defend from that landing and hope to win that way. I see the civs now, and it's pretty clear to me that MBL is going to go for some type of a landing in this game.
Yeah, totally. The interesting thing is that we don't see Portuguese being used, so Malay, Italians, Viper going for Japanese is fairly standard, but I guess it's going to be Winchester defending against MBL though with Malay,
Huh.
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so Dark's going to go water, and maybe Winchester will as well. Well, we'll find out. Lita, if you don't mind, I'm going to thank some people here because it's
Sure.
long overdue. Lamadius Goatsart. Congrats on the name, by the way. 69 gifted subs to the channel 40 minutes ago, and that was at the start of that game. You are a legend. Thank you. I'll give you VIP later. 69 gifted subs is insane. I'd also recommend you see a doctor if you can to get your head checked. But you're amazing. Unionist, thank you for the 10 months. Thank you very much to Hecky for dropping 10 gifted subs to the channel. Thank you, Fun Sponge, for gifting 10 subs to the channel and dealing with chat as a mod. Mustache Monic, Andor, Cryo, Nymph, Krihe, Agua Master Caster, Gustin, Ewi, hello Ewi, Skip, Dagra, and many more. Thank you. You guys are awesome. All right. Yeah, get your head checked by a jumbo jet. So we'll have some time to chill here, Lita. But we've seen enough Team Islands now to have an idea that landing is very dominant. Dock positions tend to give us an idea of what strategy players might go for.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like if you're defending with Winch, you probably want to go back dock because you want to keep your fish safe because you're not going to be making fire galleys.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also say that MBL should make his dock at the back because you still have your time to bring in the transport and it gives your fish a little bit of extra safety.
You know, it also wouldn't be too unheard of in this spot to see MBL just stay at home, back dock and add a few fishing ships, and then make scouts expecting a landing from Russia. Because I think if Russia picks this, surely you don't pick Team Islands as a map to just make them land you, right? It's kind of weird. I mean, maybe it's mind games, but I feel like the team who picks the map probably wants to go for some type of a landing.
Not so sure. In fact, this might be the thought process for the Russians. They know MBL will probably land on this map, so maybe they will go both war. And this is why
Yeah.
I love their SIP selections. It's insanely hard to predict what they are trying to do. Whereas with MBL's Lithuanians, it is somewhat expected that he's going to land with that Civ.
Yeah, or just use water, or sorry, use land more than water. Now, I've talked about transporting from back dock positions. The upside of docking in the back is that your fishing ships are far away from the enemy when they do make navy. The downside is you need to create that transport ship faster, and transports are 125 wood, and they also take a long time to create. So it is possible if MBL doesn't have the build down, that he won't be able to transport the middle part of the enemy island, which is where he'll want.
Oh, MBL chooses a kind of unfortunate dock spot over there. If he built it on the other box turtles, he would be closer to deep fish. Here, it's not a great dock spot
That's
for
true.
him.
Yeah, that's just
It's very
unfortunate.
unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, there's still fish there, but when you're probably only going to have one dock, you would have wanted it literally anywhere else. That hurts a little bit for him, as we see him with 5 on wood soon. Yeah, this is standard stuff, and we still don't really know what they're doing yet.
Yeah, I don't even expect to see or know what they're doing 3 minutes into the game. But the Viper is going to do forward dock, so I guess it's fire galleys. And what's up with Winch? Where is his dock at?
What? It's not in time. Wait, so if Winchester hasn't docked yet and hasn't added fishing ships, which is very, very uncommon, by the way, do you think maybe he goes landing here?
It's hard to land without a dock, Tristan, but now he's adding
Well,
one.
well, I mean, sorry, I should specify. To be more clear, normally you have one fishing ship around this time. So I think the upside of doing what Winchester's doing is that he's going to have the rest of the food faster, and then he just won't have as many fishing ships, which makes me think he will land.
Maybe you're right. It's a side dock play. I can see that happening because if you wanted to go fire galleys, you wouldn't drop it on the side.
Yeah, this is
So
power.
it's kind of the in between ground between having a back dock and taking a lot of time to get your transport out, and having a safer dock than the forward one.
Yeah, people asking about relics. There's 2 relics per island. So if MBL wants relics, he could get them. Yeah, we're also seeing the power of Japanese and Lithuanians. This Dark Age does not seem very good for Dark and Vinch. But MBL, because you start with extra food as Lithuanians, was able to go to wood a bit earlier, so we could dock earlier and get these fishing ships. That's why he has 21 vills. And then Viper having the cheaper lumber camps, similar benefit, gets the wood a bit faster, can dock faster, can make more fishing ships. So Norway already in Dark Age with an eco lead, and we'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, what is interesting is that Dark was focusing on pushing in deer instead of bringing in his boar, so he's just starting to consume the first boar. It's not
Okay.
necessarily a mistake, but it's a little bit surprising that he was prioritizing the deer push that much.
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of like it, because it's easier to take a rhino later than it is to take deer later when you're probably using your scalp. So, MBL with the transport's on the way, and I just saw a signal, and if he's telling Viper where he's getting inside of that transport ship, he might be bringing Viper with him to the enemy islands.
Yeah, he's going to bring that scout in. Indeed, Viper is on the way. And here's the question. If you bring your scouts, like both scouts to the opponent's island, then Winchester might land unnoticed.
Yeah. Winchester, has he made a transport ship? Doesn't look like it. Does not look like it. I noticed Dark has placed Palisade over the Komodo dragons. He also, being teamed up with Malay, has a lot of line of sight on the docks. They might spot Norway. Here they come. Now this is going to be crazy because these scouts are going to be feudal age scouts. They could decimate villagers very easily, and then MBL will probably make a staple to make more scouts.
Dark Scout is leaving the area just now. And
Oh,
Feud Lake is
man.
also going to be faster for Norway.
Yeah, that's true. So the scouts actually will get a lead. Even if Norway shows that they're here, that's not a massive surprise. And what? Are you kidding me? That's so unlucky for Russia.
Yeah, that's like legit team anti-blind.
What? What? Vinch is on the left. Dark is on the right. How unfortunate, man. Well, I guess they couldn't stop it anyways. But Viper...
They noticed it.
Yeah, they noticed it. So they know something's up. And look what Vinch. So Vinch is not transporting. He's making spearmen and scouts at home. So they've invited that pressure from MBL. And they prepped to deal with it ahead of time.
Yeah, but the problem is the MBL is so good at dealing damage that the main problem is that if MBL can delay both players, then Viper is going to have an untouched play here.
Exactly. You have MBL being the cockroach, MBL being annoying, being a pest. And then you have Viper
He's running away with
doing
the
Viper
transport.
things, and MBL's like, see ya. Not sure how I
I'm
feel
outta
about
here.
that, actually, because, well, I feel like you could have walled in the villagers instead, but he is going to leave off to a new land, and the 2 scouts for MBL still here to do damage as they head towards Dark Space. And as you said, Lita, it does mean that Dark will be distracted.
Yeah, he will be distracted. On the other hand, if they leave the stable just like this, Winchester could pull the villagers and wall it in.
Yep. It's true. Villager goes down. Nice pick off from MBL, but his scouts kind of got trapped in there. A lot of other teams run out here to wall up the stable. Russia chose not to do that, which I think might be a mistake. And look at MBL! Because Winchester doesn't have anything on water, MBL is going full circle around to the other side.
And where is he gonna stop? Is he gonna stop at like the back of the island? Yes, he will.
Oh man, and
Now
now
an archer range.
MBL says it's your turn to have a hole in your wall. Happened to me in game 1. We got that win anyways. How do you like it? As he kills another villager.
Yeah, I don't like this map selection for Russia, to be honest. I feel like it was kind of expected to see Norway doing this, and it's very, very hard to stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Norway, man. You pick any map, Norway will be good. There's a reason they're favored to get to the finals. They have Spain waiting for them. Winner of this will face Spain next weekend in a best-of-7 semi. Dark has started off with galleys. He's made a few fires, I suppose, but switching that up, changing the meta there, and Winchester scouts meet MBL scouts. I'm just waiting to see what MBL has planned with 2 archer ranges. 2 archer ranges on the enemy island. Let's go.
He's going archers, although he could just go Lithuanian skirms if he doesn't want to go on gold, but he has different plans.
Will he make 3 for the memes? Big thing is that MBL has been freely fishing. That's not the case for Vinch because Vinch was hit by Viper. MBL has so many scouts over Winchester. That's a product of the food eco. They will have over 10 military, and when it's archers and scouts, I fear that Winchester or Dark would just die to that.
Yeah, and if they don't die to that, they're going to die to Viper getting those galleys out, and more importantly, getting to Castle Age. Remember that Rhino is not taken by Dark. So.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. He probably thought he could take it, and we talked about that, but not when MBL is here. MBL will probably try and... If he could put that Rhino into his transport ship, he would right now. Guarantee it.
Yeah, he's just not allowed to lame. But yeah, Viper's Castle Age here is going to be super good, and Dark is not even close to getting up to Castle.
And Viper has not had a lot to do. The Viper just needed to win water. And MBL has forced Winchester into some losses, has also done the same to Dark, and that's why this landing strategy is so strong. Winchester even being killed by Komodo dragons currently, so that's just how his day's going. I don't know how many Komodo dragons you face in Russia.
Yeah, Russia seems to be a little bit indecisive here because you could see Winchester queuing up a transport, then canceling it at like 30%. So they probably also don't know what they're doing, but MBL's vultures could get killed by the scouts here.
Where are they? Excuse me? I don't even... Oh, there they are. Okay. Very true. He could lose these villagers. He could also save one of them, possibly. I think he'll save that villager, and... oh, this is ballsy. Is he really going in there? No, he's not. So Viper now will win water because Viper's in Castle Age. Expect Russia to lose all water control. And the GG's called. I don't know. It's easy to say... We don't like the home map pick for Russia. But as we touched on, you know MBL's going to land. You just have to stop it. And unfortunately, Russia was not able to, and that was a very, very quick game.
The reason why I don't like this is because you know MBL is going to land, but if it's MBL landing and Viper fighting on water, it is basically two separate 1v1s. And you probably have way smaller chance playing two separate 1v1s than having a 2v2 where you can combine your forces. So I feel like, yes, MBL and Viper are strong on Arena as well, but Dark and Winchester are also pretty strong there. So I feel like they would have had a little bit more chance to surprise Viper and MBL on Arena instead of this map.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Russia. I mean, with some crazy sling strategies, you always have that chance. But Russia, as I can guarantee you, they've trained more than Norway have because they've been playing with so many different teams, and so I think they probably had a lot of confidence on the map. They probably played it well over a dozen times, different civilizations, tested the pros and cons of each strat. It just didn't work out because Norway are that good. And now we have potentially 3 more games, but we have a game 3 coming up. Norway, they're not undefeated in this tournament. They did lose some in the group stage, but they've looked really good ever since the brackets came out for the round of 16, and it will be on Valley.
It's interesting because so far it seems like Russia was better performing against Norway on open maps
Yeah.
rather than this Team Island map. So maybe Russia's going to have a shot, but I think they need to bring in something special for this.
So just to clarify, because I see some people saying that was an early GG for Russia. Game 1, I would agree that they could have continued to play on there. But game 2, they were completely dead. Their player who was going water had not even clicked up to Castle Age. Viper already had Castle Age upgrades on water and would have cleared out every single dock. MBL had archers and scouts that couldn't be countered, and MBL still had fishing ships that were working. He could have been in Castle Age soon himself. So I don't want anyone to think that Russia are early GGers or anything because of that game. That was just a pure on stomp. So
Nah,
Valley, another standard map, Lita. What civs are we expecting from both teams?
it's tricky because technically mostly people forget about the fact that Valley has a bunch of huntables in the middle, so you would
True.
expect Mongols to be super strong, but in a tournament so far, mostly people are just ignoring it because it's so high risk. So they just sit back and play just like Arabia. That being said, Mongols could still be a thing, and I wonder if Russia's gonna go Berbers for multiple reasons. Like, that technically is a counter pick to Mongols, but you can also go like triple stable knights and play a very aggressive game once again. Same thing with Magyars.
Um, I I really like Indians Vietnamese here because players are pretty far apart. Like maybe you have Indians on another map. I'm not sure, but Vietnamese feels like a pretty solid pick. And players are far apart. The games can go late, and if it gets late game, Rats and Archers seem very strong. And also, I'm looking at the civilizations for Norway. I think you go for your Paladin Civ here. You only have one
You do.
Paladin Civ. Oh, no, wait. They have... Okay, Persians would be for Nomad, and then Huns would probably be the natural pick.
Yeah, probably. Because like Persia's Malians goes for Nomad. Then you go Huns here, or maybe Slavs. And they would have Ghost Lake. I feel like, yeah, Ghost Lake is probably better with Slavs. So you go Huns, Vikings, maybe? Or Huns, Mongols.
We're speculating, and I do have some stuff up my screen, but I'm not sure if that's actually real. Okay, so here we are, game number 3. In the green, we have Viper, who's gone Slavs. I'm a little bit surprised to see that. Then we have MBL here playing as the Vikings. Only reason I'm surprised to see Slavs, it's not because Slavs are bad, it's because Huns make sense if the game goes late, and Huns have Paladin. Slavs do not, so it will be on Norway to kill a little bit faster here. Winchester playing as the Indians in the yellow, and then he's teamed up with Dark, who's gone Portuguese. So you have Dark Age cartography, which is very nice. Portuguese don't feel as strong as Vikings when it comes to the archer role.
Yes and no. It's tricky because, like, if you would ask Viper about Portuguese, he would probably say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take that."
Yeah. I wanna see Viper put his money where his mouth is, and if he makes it to the semis and the finals, then pick Portuguese for game 1. That's what I want to see. If they're the best Civ, go for it. But anywho, you're right. Portuguese are certainly better than other civilizations going archers. They get full arbalest, and it's cheaper for them to make arbs. But the big thing is not the arbalest themselves and the cost of it. It's just that Vikings getting free wheel and free handcart makes their eco and their transition towards imp much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Vikings are one of the most dominant archer civs. I think in this tournament as well, but although I don't have the stats sheet up right now,
Yep.
both teams still have the restart, and I'm a little bit concerned about Dark's right side. So I could understand if they went for a restart here because everything is on the line here in this game, so they have to have a very, very good map.
I don't think you actually look at those golds. As long as it's not on a hill. Like, I have yet to see a Valley generation that has screwed a team over like I got screwed over when I played my games against Vietnam. Like, sometimes you see the hill there for Viper. If you have your golds there, then you want to call a restart, which was something I encountered. But apart from that, I think since that's next to a wood line, you can town center drop that pretty easily. But I'm really curious if we'll see Drush FC. With a little bit of commitment to walling in Dark Age, we could see players just forego making military, similar to Ghost Lake.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's a high risk reward play, but I feel like, especially with how vulnerable Winchester's base is, for example, I don't think you really want to go scouts here because the problem is that you would just bump into walls and then those scouts are useless and your opponent is going to have knights faster.
Look at MBL. I told you. MBL's like, okay, this is a great map to wall. Now it's so risky, right? There are downsides to it, and we'll touch on it later. But MBL already top 15 and walling up his base. Research Loom already.
Oh, yeah. Like, MBL can wall any map, so this is not a big surprise.
Yeah, MBL could wall force nothing, somehow. But I'm looking at how the scouts are moving out. I think this is where you can use Portuguese because of Dark Age cartography. You can always have your scout with your ally scout. Viper might need some quick walling here in a second. See? Viper repositioning on berries or thinking about it as his scout is coming back. I think Dark should be taking more initiative here. They really both should be attacking MBL's scout.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a little bit of a matter of, like, you still have to manage your eco.
Yep.
And, like, you probably prioritize that over just microing your scouts.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, it's again a situation where when it comes to that extreme multitasking, who do you favor? And I think answer is always going to be Norway with most of those questions. But a good defense there from Norway. Give them credit there. MBL did the right thing to keep his scout in the mix and went over to Viper. Probably told Viper ahead of time because then Viper brought his scout back. And we'll have Winchester in the feudal age. One villager faster than the Viper. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, one villager faster than the Viper.
Indeed. So, it is interesting to see that, like, MBL is fully walled.
Yeah.
And not... Well, it's Dark also walling himself, but, like, Viper is like, oh yeah, I don't wall this. And Winchester is also the same thing for now.
But this is actually great work from Dark. Remember how bad game 1 was for him at the start? He was down 400 food. He also lost a villager, and Russia almost won that game. So this time, he has all of his resources, and he says, I know MBL. I know MBL's probably walling right now, so I'm going to go fast castle myself. Might not be quite as good. Actually, I take that back. He's going archers, but he is going to at least be secure lead-a-core as he pushes towards those archer numbers.
Yeah, I think that's the key here. So if you're the underdog team, you want to be sure with your walls. You want to make sure you don't lose villagers that you're not supposed to lose.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of going archers this late for a few reasons. Big thing for me that comes to mind is the fact that it takes so long to get the archer numbers out of the ranges and then over to MBL's base. The other thing would be if you go for a faster uptime, like 21 pop, then you don't have to overly commit to feudal age. Maybe go one archer, a few spearmen, accompany Winchester, and hit Viper. That could work. But if you're going for 2-range build, it is going to take some time. So we'll see if Russia's able to get the numbers out.
Yeah, and the problem here is that MBL is going to go for a naked FC, apparently. Which means that he's going to have crossbows out on the field.
The downside is he leaves Viper on his own. So a Viper, he remembers game 1 very well, I'm sure, where MBL was hit by the scouts and Viper had to carry a bit. We'll see it. The reversal here, I think MBL is going to need to save Viper at some point, or Viper will just need to wall out that pressure.
Yeah, Viper is just going to scream, "Team!
Team, where's my team?" Sorry, that's probably why he didn't play with Germany, right? Because he's not like Jordan. Okay, I have a question for you, Lita. I asked it on stream earlier. I don't know if you were around.
I wasn't, I think.
Okay, of all the people rooting for Norway right now, what percentage of them are actually from Norway? If you had to pick a percentage, I don't have the answer, obviously.
8.
8%? I was thinking more like 0.8. Like, I can think of like 6 Norwegians in the community, like maybe 10 Norwegians in the community besides Viper and MBL. Okay, all right, 8%. Interesting. What about Russia? I mean, Russia might be similar, right? Might be very similar there. It could be the same for a lot of countries. And, well, Dark, what are you... Dark! What the... I have so many questions.
There is also Winchester inside Viper's base, so this is tricky.
Oh. Oh,
Look at
Dark. I mean, I just feel like that was so avoidable on so many levels. Why would you have your range behind your walls like this? Why not have it up against the walls? That feels weird, especially when you need to have those archer numbers count really early. But fortunately, Viper runs away and Viper doesn't find as much damage as he could have there.
Yeah, Viper didn't lose any villagers as well, even though Winchester tried to dive in.
Okay, well, update on MBL's situation. This is what I meant with the range placement. He's got his range up against those walls. We'll wait for the blacksmith. Nope, he's waiting for the second range and a few resources to click up. I actually think Dark is going to sell a stone. Yep, he's going to sell a stone and buy food because he realizes, oh shoot, my archers won't do damage. I need to go Castle Age ASAP to compete with MBL.
Honestly, I feel like this might have been the plan the whole time, and
Maybe.
his Castle Age time isn't going to be that much worse than MBL's is.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not so sure about that because he only has 7 on food. And now we see everything that he had sent forward again go down. Viper feeling good about this spot, I'm sure. But also he invested into more scouts than Winchester did. So Winchester's looking at, oh wow, 700 food. Nasty forward gold, but he has towered that. And he'll click up to Castle Age much faster than the Viper.
This is so tricky, because Indians can dominate the cavalry civ if you play it right.
Yeah.
My main problem with them is that Castle Age crossbows are actually okay against the Indian camels. So you really need your archer player to
Be in the
lower
game.
the opponent's archer numbers to at least have a chance to use those camels.
Yeah. I think one thing that Russia should be doing now, everywhere you have a palisade, house wall it. I like how everyone's suddenly speaking Norwegian. Thank you, chat. You're all hilarious. Can we please keep it with English? Thank you. But no, like, everywhere you have a single palisade wall, you're not going to be protected by crossbows. So you see Winchester now making house walls and blacksmith. He's making it because he knows the threat of crossbows is coming. So this is smart thinking from Russia. I think we'll have to see the same thing from Dark. Here comes MBL with 6 archers, and they seem to be heading over towards Dark's base and not towards Winchester.
Tricky, because Winchester still hasn't clicked up, and that is looking pretty bad for Dark. I don't think that he's gonna be able to finish those walls before MBR arrives.
Yeah, Dark really
and there's also Gate.
Dark really didn't have the best start here. I said it when I saw the build. I just didn't like it when matched up against Vikings and how MBL was playing it. He never truly scouted what MBL was doing, so maybe he wasn't sure. We just assumed that he would know that, but easy to say when we're watching. He's also double house walling the side that MBL is not going to attack on. So MBL with those upgrades at 18 minutes, knocking on the door. Can Dark defend here?
I have a question for you. Which do you think is the least likely building that you're going to see on this map?
Wonder.
Second least likely?
Vittoria. Or a dock?
I think Dock is less likely, but look at the
Ah,
far left of
what?
the map.
My instinct was to say this was Viper trolling, but that's Dark. He's docked, and there's plenty of shorefish there. Okay. Well, Dark doesn't even have fletching yet, so this is a problem. Viper's in with the scouts. This is wrong on so many levels, and this is a dark, dark day for Russia. Sorry, had to say it. He forgot his blacksmith.
Oh man, that hurts so bad.
The joke or the lack of blacksmith?
The lack of blacksmith, because
Okay.
like it hurts to see that Dark is a very talented player.
Yep.
It's just a matter of kind of falling apart by game 3 here.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, game 1 was incredible, but it's
He's making caravels.
no
He's
way.
making caravels on the Dock on the
What? This is a strategy. Oh my god, that's why they picked Portuguese. That's actually epic. Oh my, I really wish he wasn't this far dead, because if you, oh my god.
No way! It actually works!
Yeah, if you patrol caravels nonstop in the middle, how do you kill that?
No way. No way! I didn't even know that you could actually walk on that patch.
Yeah,
with the
you
ships.
can, but no one was ever gutsy enough to dock it.
Yo, I'm cheering for Russia now. I'm sorry.
So you admit you were biased before? How dare you? How dare you? I mean, I really want to see what a caravel does to crossbows, because I think I've never seen that before. And here comes MBL, and caravel. I mean, MBL reacted immediately. That is hilarious. I hope it wins, man. I hope it wins. That would be so epic.
It has to be win.
I mean,
we got your clickbait for today.
I would never. I feel like they're going to clean this group of crossbows. The downside will be Viper and MBL's economy will be very strong. And caravels cannot cross over to raid MBL's eco. But if you allow this to go very late, then I don't know, maybe a few caravels, if nothing else, provide some style points. I'm just wondering what the poor zebras are thinking. They're probably so confused by this. I mean,
man.
This is sick. He's actually going to add another dock now. So he's going to try and dock the middle. So wait, we could see Malay Portuguese be meta on this map. Just dock the middle. You can only dock the little ponds, but then caravels across. I think this might possibly be seen again in the future, even if Russia loses here. And Russia will live on in memory, having implemented this strategy and shown the world.
Yeah, and look at the Viper's base. He's up against camels. MBO's nowhere close.
Yeah.
And those are Indian camels. They melt buildings here.
Yeah, they do.
This is not over yet.
This is not over yet. Indeed, Viper with 4 knights cannot engage against the camels, waiting for MBL to send some support. This is where he's saying, team! Where's my team? 3 town centers for MBL, 2 ranges. Everything's as perfect as he would want it to be. Caravels and the crossbows still do not even have Bodkin arrow for Dark, so it's such a massive investment. 39 villagers for him.
Yeah. Do you think that some demos could actually work for Dark here? Because the knights would just completely go down to the
demos
here
yeah.
super easily.
I honestly feel like in many ways demos are more realistic than caravels. Because once you know the caravels are there, you can avoid them. But if you just swoop in with a demo here or there as they try and cross, maybe that's the better play. I mean, Vinchester, he's on 3 town centers just like MBL, and he has plenty of camels and mobility. So Dark is way behind. Vinchester has to take a lead over Viper or MBL to hold on.
Or he could sling Winchester into a faster Imperial
Yeah.
and heavy camels or imp camels, which could work nicely. The last time I saw this type of ideas was, I think, a deathmatch tournament.
Okay. And when you say the idea, you mean caravels or you mean...
Yeah.
Okay.
When you just go for a bunch of ships in the middle, and
That sounds like DM.
yeah, just cut off the reinforcements from the opponent.
Yeah, the problem is there's so much golden wood that you can't access. So it's not... It doesn't have any immediate impact.
But do you want it to have any immediate impact? What better way to fight Vikings than just getting a very long game where Vikings eco isn't that relevant as it is in a
Yeah.
short game?
I mean, MBL could just go for Arbalest and Siege Ram, and he could push right across the water. That's the problem. But it would... I mean, in a dream scenario, it would be amazing for this to work. 51 villagers for Dark, 80 for MBL, 66 for Vinch, and 62 for the Viper. So it really is the difference between the Archer role. And there's the Rams for MBL. I think he's going to do exactly what I said. He'll go Rams to push out across the sea.
And what's even worse for Russia is that MBL is about to click Imp.
Yep. There he goes. Viking Eco, untouched, unrivaled. And I am really curious, though, if the ships can hold. Maybe Dark can build a few more docks. You're right. The longer the game goes, maybe you do favor Indians and Portuguese over Vikings and Slavs. Bit of a raid here. Winchester killing some villagers from MBL. MBL more worried about the front of his base right now. And here come those Rams. This is...
Oh, man.
Again, it would crack me up. Let's say Norway wins this set. And in the semifinal, Valley's played. And they somehow dock the middle because Russia made them think of it. That would be so cool.
Yeah, honestly, I can genuinely believe that Norway would steal this strategy right away.
Yeah.
In fact, I would think that a lot of teams would actually steal that. And imagine this with Malay, even more fun.
Yeah, it's not the docking and making caravels right now when you're at a losing advantage that's strong. I think it's just getting docks up in late game. Like, imagine Spain sees this. Spain, heavy demos in the middle? I mean, that would be epic. It's such a Tato thing to do.
Yeah, it gives a lot of freedom, and like that was already a mastermind at inventing strategies, and he's probably like, oh, I didn't think about this.
Yep.
Imagine how many things we could do with this now.
Russia's always been the same way. Russia and Winchester, known for coming up with wacky strats. In fact, Winchester's been criticized for it many times over the years because it's been too wacky. He believed in Goths before any of the pro did. Now here are the Rams, crossbows, and knights engaging against the caravels. Caravels seem to be doing an okay job. Here come the camels now. This is an okay fight for Russia. Look at all the crossbows going down.
Yeah, and just before our blast upgrade would hit, and if the camels arrive, with no crossbows or not enough supporting, camels could actually do quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, now Arbalest is on the way. MBL still has 30 of them. And there's only 8 caravels here, plus Capped Ram will come in, which means he'll have even more of a meat shield. Get some docks up, Winchester, and hope for some demos. I mean, actually, they should dock right there. Dock right there. That way, if MBL tries to push out, you can garrison one in your dock. And, uh-oh, castle for MBL. He knows this is a threat, so I guess a castle would take the Navy out of the picture.
Can he actually get that up?
Nope. Nope. He cannot get it up, and now he's going to place it back here, or try to?
Viper is making pikemen.
I am
Now,
I am a neutral caster as is Lidacor, but I think I can speak for a lot of people who are like, go Russia! Come on, please work! It'd be so amazing. No one thinks they're going to win this set. If they could win with this strategy, it'd be so amazing.
yeah, but it looks very unlikely because right now it's only camels and Viper is making pikes. Fun fact, pikes also have an anti-ship bonus.
Yeah,
as you probably
funny.
learned from that quiz with Nile.
That's actually funny. Yeah, it's I forget the attack. I should know this. It's like plus 16 or plus 8 or plus 25 or plus 5,000, one or the other. But yeah, Viper could go full halberdier to counter ships and camels right now. Maybe Winchester goes skirms and hand cannons, but still doesn't feel natural.
Yeah, Winchester, I mean, look at Dark Sequel. He has caught up, but he's not close to clicking up just yet.
Yeah. It's also how long have you had the Vills, right? MBL has 101 Vills. He's had them with handcard for a long time. So, as this second castle will go up, and he's trying to push out across, and Dark has no choice but to leave the area, MBL will soon be at Winchester's base with Arbs and Rams, and there's not much that Winchester can do to hold from that.
Yeah, I'm sad because, I mean, imagine if the second game was on Team Islands and this was just game number 2. I just feel so sad that Russia didn't go for Arena instead and try something. Is
Yeah.
MBL gonna...
Well, I mean, imagine if they would have won game number 1. Yeah, that would be pretty sick. But they are really struggling now, Russia. And I think they probably wanted to go for this strat in the first place, but they didn't expect Dark to fall so far behind. But
Yeah, probably.
yeah, Camels from Vinch in the northern corner to deny trade. I think Viper's on that, so that will die. And MBL's got so much. He has now crossed the Sandy Sea to build archery ranges so he can continue to push Winchester freely.
Yeah, Viper, he's gonna get that castle up, and the pikemen are just eating the caravels.
Someone, someone in chat just says, Russia have more navy on Valley than they ever had in Team Islands.
That's true.
That is true.
That's totally true.
That is like, speaking of trivia, that is some fantastic trivia for the future. Remember this game. Rams will melt every building. Caravels contributing so little. Dark is on the way to the Imperial Age. And here comes Viper now with Halberdiers. And MBL cannot be stopped. At least it doesn't seem like he can be stopped right now.
I don't think that Heavy Camel is going to finish with the speed that the Rams are chewing through those buildings, and MBL's probably gonna drop a castle in the place of that DC.
Yep, that's true. Heavy Camel does take a long time, and it's in that stable there. Dark is, or Winchester rather, is badly housed. He doesn't have the pop space. And yep, no Heavy Camel for you. I'm not sure if it would really help here, Winchester. Let's just watch the Caravels.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Norway has won this round quite convincingly, but Russia has won our hearts.
Yep. And Game 2 and Game 3 were a bit more disastrous than they would have wanted, but Game 1 was amazing. And apart from that one villager castle from Viper, it wasn't like Norway was massively trolling either, right? They had Franks, Franks, Mayans, so probably as good a civilizations you could get Game 1. And Norway played as they would normally play, and Russia came very close to winning there. So I'm kind of glad that Russia, though they did get 3-0'd, pulled out the stops with a wacky strategy near the end, because the people who didn't respect Russia prior now have a lot more respect for them. They made it out of their group. They 3-0'd a team in Germany, which is very solid, and they are a bunch of very good players. If the bracket would have been different, you know, they might have even made it past the quarters, but Norway, they're simply one of the favorites, Lita. There's no other way to say it. They might not have won back in 2018, but because of the quality that they have, they are seen as one of the top teams to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think brighter future is ahead of Russia, because we are talking about Dark, who hasn't even been very close to being in a competitive environment for many years, and he's just about to start out, and he's playing against Viper and MBL, and he's even playing okay considering the circumstances.
True. Yeah, I mean, Dark is a teenager. I think he's 17 or 18. And Winchester used to be just like that. Winchester used to be a teenager. I think he's now 21 or 22, and they're very young, very talented. I think there's some bright days to come for Russia